I'm going to start this off with a fun fact about me. I hate airplanes and I can't stand flying, and that's totally unrelated to woodworking. What I do like, though, are hand planes. And unlike airplanes, these actually make me happy. So here's a few from my collection, and I'm about to build a spot to store the ones that get the most airtime. So I was recently at a local hardwood dealer and found ambrosia maple on clearance. Of course, I grabbed a handful, and now I regret not buying the whole stack. Apparently I do have regrets, and they're all wood shaped. Anyway, this is what I'll be using for this build. I've been spending a lot of time in my new shop, and it's finally starting to feel like a creative space instead of a chaotic pile of plywood. More on that in a future video though. And yeah, I forgot to turn on my dust collection here. Don't worry, there'll be plenty more mistakes in this very video. Compounding problems are kind of my specialty. Oh yeah, the happy accident from my last video finally showed up. I did order the stand for it, but it's somewhere in postal limbo, so for now it's living right here on the bench. Mostly because it's too heavy to be picking up and putting down. I think my back's gonna file a formal complaint. He mostly just lounges on a blanket while I work. Real team player energy. Every now and again he'll find a wood scrap to chew on or decide it's time for some shop floor wrestling. Basically, he's the shop supervisor with zero productivity. I fired it up right here for the first time, and honestly, I was shocked at how quiet it was. My old 734 sounded like a jet engine trying to take off. It was a screamer. This thing, on the other hand, whispers sweet little nothings while leaving a glass smooth finish and zero snipe. Money well spent. I'm going for maximum width here, so I took off the bare minimum to square things up. Every fraction counts when you're pretending to be precise. With the dust collection actually on this time, I trimmed everything to final size on the miter saw. And that is what a stare down with a trespassing bird looks like. A hand tool cabinet should probably involve, maybe a couple hand tools. So even though it's been a hot minute, I am going to be cutting some dovetails. Sweet revenge for my dog who just let two birds get away. It's actually a pretty nice break from all the plywood projects that have been slowly eating my soul. I was a bit rustier with the fret saw than I remembered, which means I earned myself some extra chisel time. Luckily, the chisels were sharp, and after a few careful chops from each side, it was the moment of truth. Time to find out if I'm a woodworker or I've just wasted my afternoon. Well, there's that. I definitely drew blood on this one. I didn't even notice it until the dry fit up. It's the consequence of really sharp chisels. Totally worth the blood loss. Though now I actually have to sand the stains out. I was actually planning on skipping that step on this one. I did use the router table to make a sliding dovetail joint for a little drawer. Real fancy stuff. Then I sanded off the DNA footprint I left behind before an easy glue up, because that's totally a thing, right? I had a plan going into this. It was probably more like an idea because I didn't write anything down, and I probably should have. Because of this, I ended up grabbing a half-inch sheet of plywood and veneering both sides. Yep, what I should have done is grabbed a quarter-inch sheet of plywood and veneered both sides. So I moved on anyways. The mistake's going to be pretty obvious. You're going to see it a little bit later in the video. There's going to be a moral to this story, and it's maybe actually sketch things first. Or just keep winging it like a true professional amateur. At least it's square. Normally that'd make me happy. But I know what that extra quarter inch is going to do here in a little while. You're going to have to be patient. I'm not going to hide it. We're just not there yet. I'll point it out when we get to it, but trust me, it's painfully obvious. For now, I'm putting my bitterness behind me and pretending everything is fine. Totally fine. I was pretty confident the sliding dovetail drawer was going to fit, so I did not do a test fit. I got some glue on there and just tapped it in. Luckily, it went in great, just a little bit of resistance, and yeah, I was pretty happy about that one. The cabinet needed a little block plane finesse to get that perfect flat feel. A few shavings later, boom, looks good. Almost like I knew what I was doing. Yes, metal screws. Go ahead. I can already feel the thumbs downs and at least two angry comments coming. But would it help if I told you that I waxed the screws first? Listen, this thing's heavy. I just wanted to make sure the cleat has more than enough support for what it's supposed to hold. Overbuilt? Maybe. Regrets? Nah. If it helps, I cut walnut dowels to cover the holes. Little contrasting walnut. Hopefully that looks kind of cool. We are the only ones that are going to know there's a metal fastener in there anyways. So I think we're going to be alright. I can assure you this half-inch plywood is supposed to be half-inch plywood. It's also getting veneered. This is the one that's going to hold the planes. Ugh, we've got to talk about it again. Clearance issues. A very specific quarter-inch of them. This may come as a shock, but this was not part of my original idea. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm getting pretty good at adapting and fixing most of my mistakes. Well, except for the ones that I throw in the trash and delete the footage of, so it never happened. But a quick adjustment on the inside with the angle that the planes sit at fits like a glove. Just in case I accidentally shoulder check the wall again, I used some rare earth magnets to help secure the planes. Hopefully nothing falls on their watch. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to put below these, so ultimately I left it open to fill in the future. The last thing on the list for this project is making a little drawer. So I went back through the milling process one more time. The drawer is not very big, so it went pretty quick. And then I headed back to the bench for a few more dovetails. These little dovetails went together pretty quick. And yeah, I'd love to take credit for being some kind of fine woodworker, but I'm not. The Cat's Moses jig did all the heavy lifting. I just kind of stood by, looking confident, kind of. It'll need just a little tweaking after I glue this thing up, but I gotta put a drawer bottom in it first. To do this, I used quarter-inch plywood, and I just routed out, obviously, a quarter-inch groove to put the plywood in. I keep thinking I'm almost done, and then there's one more step. This time it's a piano hinge, which should be plenty strong according to my favorite engineer, Amazon Prime. I'm usually terrible at hinges, but somehow this one lined up almost perfectly. I don't think I trust it. I mean, I know something's gotta be wrong, but I can't find it yet. Weird. A couple last minute tweaks and I was ready for finish. I used boiled linseed oil. I think it looks pretty cool. If you've made it this far, most of you have not, let me know in the comments. Trash or pass?